High above the clouds, the ghost of the sky roams free while down below the steel fortress of American engineering wakes up for war. Massive doors peel back to reveal the beast within the sanctuary, where iron will meet advanced technology to forge the ultimate weapon of dominance. Standing in the shadow of this black-winged titan, we witness the silent power that defines modern air superiority in every single rivet. The birth of stealth begins with a scream of metal as massive drills carve into solid blocks of raw aluminum with unforgiving precision. Coolant sprays violently as the cutter shreds through the alloy while laser eyes scan the dark surface to hunt for microscopic imperfections today. Sharp blades slice through vibrant orange aramid fibers with surgical speed, shaping the hidden skeleton that gives this flying phantom its incredible strength. From the delicate placement of a single wire to the crushing force of a heavy industrial press, every scale of manufacturing is conquered. Robotic arms apply the gray skin that hides the machine, while complex metal assemblies are locked into jigs to ensure absolute structural rigidity. We gaze upon the polished chrome heart of the beast, a complex web of hydraulics and sensors suspended in a frame of steel. Inside the White Room, technicians scrutinize every inch of the spherical cage, demanding perfection from the metal bones that hold the bird together. They hunt for weakness in the frame while high-pressure fluid courses through the veins of the machine to verify seals hold against hell. A mechanical hand gently feels the surface of the disc, sensing flaws invisible to the human eye, ensuring the foundation remains unbreakable today. Automation meets the human touch as skilled hands apply the black blood of adhesion, sealing the composite skin against the forces of flight. In the quiet of the lab, a steady hand lowers the silicon brain into place, sparking life into the nervous system of war. Blue fire burns through the metal sheet, etching intricate patterns into the armor, carving out the heavy-duty protection needed for the mission. Clad in white suits, the experts measure the gap with digital precision, because even a hair of space could mean disaster in the sky. The long hall of industry stretches out, endlessly filled with the black caskets of technology waiting to be assembled into instruments of power. Yellow giants lift the heavy silver ribs of the aircraft, lowering them slowly onto the jig where the body of the beast forms. Mechanical muscle swings the massive metal ring through the air, positioning the heavy collar that will connect the engines to the main fuselage. The robot drives the bolts home with crushing torque, locking the skeleton together with a permanent grip that will never let go mid-flight. Men hold the line while the machine drills deep into the spar and the gray body of the bomber descends into its cradle. Black sealant flows over the ribs like liquid armor as the robot arm traces the spine of the airframe with cold, calculated movements. Bright sparks fly as the torch fuses the titanium cage, creating a skeleton strong enough to survive the crushing forces of high speed. Inside the belly of the beast, workers hunt for cracks in the hinge, ensuring the mechanical joints are ready for the heavy load. She pulls the wrench with raw strength, locking the massive bolt down tight until the steel groans under the pressure of American muscle. The robot punches rivets into the shiny skin with rapid fire speed, turning the raw aluminum sheets into a unified shield of war. The team locks the sharp silver point onto the nose, giving the bomber its piercing face that will slice through the air unnoticed. Heavy machinery holds the weight while hands guide the steel plate home, aligning the armor that protects the rear of this flying fortress. Experts check the lines for leaks because even a drop of lost pressure could ground the mission before the engines ever fire up. Power tools scream as he drives the bolts into the radar ring, securing the eyes of the aircraft against the vibration of flight. Yellow cranes hoist the massive silver engine housing high above the floor, moving the heavy heart of the jet toward its final place. Drills spin and bite into the metal bracket as the crew locks the component down tight, ensuring it stays put during combat maneuvers. Green lasers cut across the gray wing as the team measures the angle to confirm the structure is straight and true for flight. The white arm lifts the black skin and places it gently onto the frame, hiding the complex skeleton beneath a layer of shadow. Thermal blankets cover the wing and the vacuum sucks the air out tight, compressing the layers into a single solid piece of strength. A steady hand injects the resin into the microscopic gap, sealing the composite joint forever against the brutal cold of the upper atmosphere. While they lock the silver slat onto the wing edge, the robot bundles the miles of wire that form the nervous system inside. Grit meets the black surface as they sand it smooth, and the gun lays down a thick bead of sealant to close gaps. He smooths the black line to perfection, while the welder burns hot on the exhaust ring, forging the parts that handle the heat. The team guides the massive circular frame into the rear of the jet, locking the exhaust structure into the body of the beast. He threads the glass eye onto the titanium strut, with steady hands giving the bomber the sight it needs to hunt in darkness. The heavy seat drops into the cockpit rails with a metal groan, locking in the last chance for life when the sky falls. Mechanical precision seals the cockpit tight as the robot arm places the dark gray cover over the complex avionics bay without a sound. He slides the silver brain into the rack and snaps the connectors home, sparking the digital intelligence that controls this machine of war. Tools tighten the box down hard before the light sweeps the dark tunnel of the intake, hunting for anything that could destroy the engine. Hot air blasts the sealant until it cures into a rubber shield, protecting the internal veins of the aircraft from the extreme cold. The naked skeleton of the fuselage stands exposed, revealing the dense miles of orange wire and silver boxes that make this monster tick. On the factory floor, the massive gray turbofan rolls forward on heavy wheels, approaching the open bay where it will roar to life. Steel cables strain as the crane lifts the turbine high into the air, hovering the spinning blades just inches above the metal skin. Men guide the iron beast into its cage and drive the heavy bolts deep, locking the engine to the frame for raw thrust. The yellow arm sweeps the sensor around the massive intake ring, verifying the gap is perfect so the engine breathes clean air today. White gloves turn the black sensor into the skin until it sits perfectly flush, vanishing into the composite body to deflect enemy radar. They grab the black flap and force it up and down, checking the hinge movement to ensure the pilot has full control tomorrow. Mist hits the carbon fiber weave as the light reveals the bond line, ensuring the liquid test proves the composite is solid rock. Deep inside the dark exhaust ports, they shine their lights, checking the ceramic walls that must survive the blazing heat of full afterburner. The purple light seals the glass tight while he cranks on the landing gear bolt, ensuring the wheels hold the weight of the beast. He slides the sharp-angled module into the nose housing, locking the stealth geometry in place to keep the bomber invisible to radar. She probes the engine harness with the meter, reading the electrical pulse to confirm the power flows correctly through the veins of wire. A gloved hand feels the black wing, searching for a ridge because even a microscopic bump could give away the position of the ghost. The nozzle lays down a perfect gray bead of polymer, sealing the wing seam tight against the tearing wind of high-speed flight. He presses the gray square onto the black skin, smoothing the edges down tight to ensure the radar waves slip right past unnoticed. A mechanical army swarms the spine of the bomber, laying down the stealth armor with a synchronized rhythm that no human could match. The glass screen slides into the console with a solid click, locking the digital eyes of the pilot into the heart of control. Inside the belly of the beast, hands check the silver rails where the heavy ordnance will hang ready to drop on the target. They check the massive rubber tread and the heavy steel door, ensuring the landing gear can take the brutal impact of the runway. His gloved hand flips the metal switches one by one, waking the sleeping giant as the electrical hum rises to a screaming pitch. Green light floods the cockpit while clear water rushes through the test pipe, proving the cooling system flows without a single air bubble. He probes the orange bundle of nerves with the digital scanner, hunting for a broken signal in the miles of complex aircraft wiring. Hydraulic pumps scream as the heavy black flaps cut through the air, proving the muscle of the aircraft can handle the aerodynamic load. The pilot grips the stick and moves it with precision, feeling the raw connection between his hand and the surfaces of the wing. The massive silver cylinder spins inside the dark bay, rotating the heavy payload of destruction into position for the moment of final release. Digital code scrolls across the screen while the needle holds steady, proving the brain and the blood of the bomber are perfectly synced. White smoke flows smooth into the intake as they check the airflow, making sure the sensors breathe clean air without any turbulence today. A finger taps the glass, directing the advanced avionics to run the test pattern that verifies the lethal accuracy of the targeting system. The trailing edge dances in a wave of black metal, deflecting the wind to steer the ghost through the sky with absolute control. Red lights turn to solid green inside the cramped bay, confirming the electronic shield is active and ready to jam enemy radar signals. He locks the heavy black hose onto the intake, feeding the beast with ground power to keep the systems running cold on the tarmac. The screen glows with the heat map of the internal systems, showing the pilot exactly where the energy flows through the metal veins. The gauge holds steady as he tests the seal, ensuring the cabin pressure stays locked inside against the thin air of high altitude. Massive jagged doors groan open and slam shut with heavy force, proving the hydraulics can hide the wheels away for pure aerodynamic stealth. The screen flashes green, confirming the electronic warfare suite is fully operational and ready to blind the enemy in the heat of battle. He pulls the tie tight and cuts the excess plastic, securing the complex nerve bundles that carry the critical signals to the tail. Hydraulic muscle flexes the heavy tail surfaces up and down, proving the aircraft can handle the brutal forces of high-speed aerodynamic flight. The team guides the massive black cone onto the nose, locking the composite shield that hides the radar antenna from the elements forever. Steam hisses against the glass and metal joints, searching for a microscopic leak that could depressurize the cockpit at 50,000 feet today. He slams the rugged black cartridge into the drive, loading the mission data that tells the bomber exactly where to deliver the payload. Heavy yellow chocks hit the concrete and chains lock the wheels, ensuring the massive aircraft stays grounded until the pilot calls for release. The gloved finger flips the guard and presses the red button, sending the electrical command that wakes the sleeping turbines for immediate action. Heat builds deep inside the exhaust nozzle as fuel ignites and the roar of the jet engine shakes the ground with raw power. The gauges climb steady as the fire burns hot, and the pilot watches the numbers confirm the heart of the beast is beating. He pulls back the throttle and checks the thermal screen, watching the heat signature fade as the cooling systems do their critical work. Beams of light cut through the shadows under the fuselage as they hunt for leaking fluid on the belly of the dark machine. A fine brush blends the fresh paint into the skin, hiding the repair, so the surface remains perfectly smooth against the radar waves. The robot sprays the matte black coating over the wing while the bay doors slam shut, sealing the weapons inside the iron belly. He sands the panel in circles, creating a surface so smooth that friction disappears, allowing the bomber to slice through the air silently. Purple light scans for flaws while the massive steel doors roll back, revealing the outside world to the machine for the first time. In the bright light of day, the robot applies the final layer of stealth coating, ensuring the nose is invisible to enemy sensors. Red heat lamps bake the panel, curing the material into a solid shield that can withstand the extreme temperatures of supersonic air friction. A steady hand traces the seam with black sealant, closing the final gap to ensure the skin is a continuous surface of stealth. He runs a finger along the windowsill, verifying the finish is flawless because even a single rough edge could compromise the mission. He places the gauge against the black skin, reading the micron depth to verify the coating is thick enough to absorb the radar. Red lights descend from the ceiling, baking the stealth coating into the skin with intense heat until the chemical bond becomes stronger than steel. They glide the sensor across the wing, measuring the texture because a smooth surface is the only thing standing between stealth and detection. A soft cloth removes the final dust, and the purple light scans one last time, ensuring the skin is pristine for the mission. The thermal camera sees only cold blue steel, confirming the heat is contained and the bomber is finally ready to dominate the sky. He rips the red tag from the landing gear, arming the system for flight and removing the last safety lock holding the beast. The visor slides down and the mask clicks tight, connecting the pilot to the oxygen flow that keeps him alive at high altitude. Steel jaws lock onto the nose gear as the ground crew prepares to drag the massive weight of the bomber out to the line. The tug pulls hard and the wheels roll forward, moving the dark shape from the shadows of the hangar into the harsh sunlight. Sitting on the concrete, the black wing absorbs the light while the engines whine with a rising pitch of raw, anticipated kinetic energy. The tow bar drops away and the pilot pushes the throttle, moving the aircraft under its own massive power toward the active runway. Tires scream on the pavement as the engines roar to full power, pushing the bomber forward with the unstoppable force of modern war. Gravity loses its grip as the nose lifts and the wheels leave the ground, sending the Spirit soaring into the domain of air. High in the atmosphere, the Ghost banks through the clouds, moving silently through the sky as the ultimate predator of the modern age. The black wing fades into the distance, leaving only the sound of freedom behind as American manufacturing proves its dominance to the world.